So, guys, I'm going to jump into some of your comments. Again, I really appreciate you guys showing up on this newscast live as every day. General Raja, salud from Louisiana. Salud, my friend. Gun comparison's crazy. What people will do when they have had enough. Yes, man. Like talking about our first segment where these people in Haiti are going against the gangs, creating these vigilante movements. Ricky, I wonder why Mexicans don't ban like these against the cartels. I think it's definitely harder to go against cartels than it is to go against the gangs. Gangs are probably less organized and have less reach in terms of a corrupted network. And the Mexican drug cartels sometimes, and most of the times, they side with Mexican governments, right? Either be like a local, state, or even federal government. So it's definitely more complicated. Duncan Patterson, I've seen clips from South America where they're using their trucks against motorbike robbers. Yeah, man, and this is also happening in Mexico. Like many people are now charging against robbers or sicarios that they're actually using motorcycles with their own cars. I mean, if they get some backslash from it, I don't know, but it's definitely a weapon. Remember, your car is also a weapon when it comes to these cases. Blue Vandal, good morning, Luis. Hey, good morning, brother. And Giannis, what do you think of that huge lithium reserve they found in northern Mexico a couple of years back? China cartels in the U.S. all gonna fight for that resource. Interesting thing, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this was initially discovered by China in Sonora. When they killed this American family that was living, it was a Mormon family from American descent living in that side of between Sinaloa, Sonora, and Chihuahua, and they killed and burned them alive, including kids. That was literally weeks after the discovery of this lithium reserve. Now, this lithium reserve was originally owned or discovered or explored by a Chinese company using a front Mexican company. Eventually, the other company who started like putting a lot more money into it is the same company that Tesla is using to source its lithium for the batteries for the Tesla cars. So I think this is going to be problematic in the upcoming future. What I've learned from locals is that the Cartel de Sinaloa, again, quote unquote, because I'm not completely sure this is the Cartel de Sinaloa, banded with the mining company that owned this reserve to provide security. But what they were really doing is not providing security, is running locals out of these lands. And eventually, like a show of peace or whatever, they offer them jobs in the mining sites as construction workers, which really sucks because they literally lost their land, their homes. They even lost a river that was coming through, and so these companies didn't want anyone to know that there is an important river for the Sonoran people right next to this lithium site that they were contaminating. So yeah, that's an update on that lithium site in Sonora. Rafael Román, saludos desde Pasco, saludos compadre. Giorgio, is Sinaloa cartel stronger or weaker over the past 10 years? Hard to say if it's stronger or weaker because we need to take into account like what are we talking about, like if it's financially or in terms of weapon or fighting or number of members, But what I do think it's definitely more fractured, and it's going to keep fracturing even more and more. So yeah, I think they're losing more grip as they keep fracturing themselves because they start infighting, and that always hurts a criminal organization, but also makes them more violent. California guy, I feel the Mexican people did this, but then the auto defenses turned into the cartel. There's always going to be someone there to fill the void left, and money will definitely change people. Thank you. Absolutely, man. Yes, I mean, we've seen that happening a lot in Michoacan and Guerrero, right? Where these self-defense groups manage to get funds to arm themselves and go against a cartel, but then eventually they become a new cartel. Literally developing right now in Michoacan with this Guardia por la Paz, this peace for guard or guard for peace. And now the Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación showed up saying that these guys are, of course, a new cartel supporting the Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación rivals. Blue Bandel, Shah Ryan had really been speaking about China in Mexico mining lithium. Yes, guys, that's going to be a huge development further on. Gabe Melgoza, my mom met Caro Quintero at a bank, Douglas, Arizona, when he was in Agua Prieta, Sonora. She was his clerk. Random story. No fucking way. Imagine working as a bank clerk, and then these. I guess I'm pretty sure this happened probably back in the 70s. This Afro guy looking very that 70s shows. He shows up, and turns out he's Caro Quintero, putting some of his big money into the banking system. BJ, the problem with citizen organizing to fight crime is there is no official oversight by an authority representing the population. Government institutions that make sure standards of conduct are met. Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, and I don't think that's necessary, because these guys are coming mostly like from hatred, from getting fed up, and they organize themselves without the need of an official backing, right? Duncan Patterson, BJ, standards don't come into it with violent gangs. Yes, absolutely. A large number of the most widespread criminal gangs evolved from these civilian groups that started out to provide security to community and prevent crime in poor areas neglected by police. Yeah, absolutely. Who pays the vigilantes? I think for now it's unknown. I think Ian John Gonzalez. I think for now it's unknown if they're getting funded, because they don't seem very well organized, or that they have resources to arm themselves. At least what is happening in Haiti with these Kele vigilante group. But if eventually we start seeing that they're getting resources to arm themselves or whatever, this is going to be suspicious, right? Like, who is arming these people? Who is providing funds for these people? Like it happened before in Mexico with these self-defense groups. And turns out most of the funding were coming first by family members in the U.S., but eventually by U.S. institutions, which is interesting enough, right? Giannis, any update on the butterfly monarch in Michoacan? Is it being restored or still being destroyed? Well, the monarch butterflies in Michoacan, they're huge. There's a huge sanctuary of them in Michoacan, and it started getting destroyed by the violence between cartels. But there is a new self-defense group that popped up to protect the butterflies in Michoacan. They're called self-defense group, but they're not really like these heavily armed people watching over the butterflies. But it's really like mostly civilians with a good heart trying to protect this monarch sanctuary, which is really interesting, because now we need self-defense for everything. We have the avocado self-defense, avoiding cartels to extort or kidnap avocado businessmen, especially in Super Bowl season when shit hits the fan in Michoacan. But also, protecting now the monarch butterflies in Michoacan.